Hello and welcome. This is Best Foot Forward Shoes, the podcast, and this is episode number 51. Thank you so much to everybody for joining us wherever you are around the world. We've got myself here in Brisbane, and we've got our guest today, Mr. Aaron Diaz, long-time returning guest, friend of the podcast, amazing man. He is a father, he is a teacher, he is a content creator. If you don't follow Aaron Diaz at all, you should be on Instagram. Do you have TikTok as well? I thought I saw you in a couple of other places, but mainly on Instagram. We'll get into that in a little bit of a moment, but basically today we're going to be talking about ComplexCon. We're going to be talking about his trip, his journey, some of the things he did, recording a podcast with My First Kicks with Haas there, and man, it's going to be a super fun time. We're going to just have a kind of general overall chat, a little bit of sports talk as well. There's been a lot going on in the world right now, but thank you so much for joining me today, Aaron. How are you doing?
Doing good, bro. Doing well. Thank you for having me, and I apologize for the raspy voice.
No worries, man. It's understandable, the amount of traveling that you've done in the last little bit. You didn't travel. A lot of people traveled to you, I should say, because ComplexCon is in Las Vegas, if people didn't know, and that's exactly where Aaron is. So, man, I kind of brought you on today because I kind of just wanted to chat about the experience of ComplexCon. Someone who obviously lives in Australia, 9,000 miles away. I will likely not be able to go unless I somehow wrangle, a lot of money to try and get there, or someone gives me a sponsorship or something. So I'm trying to live a little bit vicariously through you and some of the other creators that were there, and I'm sure a lot of people were, hoping that you would post photos and videos. So today, hopefully, you can share a little bit about your experience. But besides going to ComplexCon, what's going on in your life? You making some content? Anything else crazy besides being a little bit under the weather happening?
No, not much, man. I think ComplexCon really did put a battery in my back, though, so I feel like the consistency or like the level of content will definitely increase. So that's about it. But just trying to stay even keel for now.
And of course, if you do want to check out any of Aaron's content, the link for his Instagram or other social media platforms will be down in the description, so you can check all of those out. Kind of like to start this off with a little bit of like recent pickups, kind of get that sort of out of the way. Not a lot of people, interested about what you're copying, what you're feeling at the moment. And you have talked a little bit about this on your Instagram, but you recently picked up a really cool New Balance numeric line. What exactly is the sneaker you've got for us today?
All right, so here we are. This is a late entry for a sneaker of the year consideration.
Nice.
These are the New Balance numeric 480. Collaboration with Ruckus Skate Shop out of Louisiana. These guys are awesome, man. Like, they had their booth. It was a duck hunt theme. So for anyone that's ever played on the Sega Genesis, I believe, or old Nintendo, the duck hunt, it comes with a lot of cool features. Like the insole is camo.
Yeah.
The box is camo. The different colors. It's hard to pull off like a numeric, I think. Especially in today's world of like runners, where runners are kind of the in thing. But the love that these are getting is phenomenal. They're set to release this month. I think they had an earlier release date planned, but unfortunately, things out of their control. They have one. They are hopeful that it'll come out this month. So yeah.
Nice. And obviously numeric, for anyone who doesn't know, is the skateboarding line of New Balance. So what's kind of the connection with Ruckus and skateboarding? Are they an actual skateboard brand?
So they are a skate shop.
Yeah.
So the guys there they skate. They're always posting pictures of them skating, but they are an actual skate shop. And so it's cool for them to do skate shoes. Yeah.
Nice. Well, I think some of the other numerics that I can think of that have been hot this year was Stone Island for some reason. Did a 272. That was one that comes straight to mind. Another skateboarding model, the new one, the 933 from Andrew Reynolds. That is one that I'm definitely still wanting to try out. I still haven't seen any sales of those, which is kind of interesting. And they're going for a very low price point. So maybe that's kind of the point, is that they already are pretty low price, so they won't go on sale. But there's some awesome colorways of those. And I have tried them on. I just haven't pulled the trigger yet on any of those. Speaking of SB, one of my pickups is the Eric Costin Air Max 95. Man, these are insane. I missed out on the first raffle, actually 5 raffles for the first one, the Cactus Flower. And of course I would have liked to get that one, but this is not I'm not going to call it a consolation prize because this feels like first prize. Like
Those are
just
so good.
the colorway, the yellow hits, the reflective hit on the back, the Costin on the tongue, the Thai script that says Nike on the front toe box there. It's the premium materials, man. Whew, like these are so sick, and getting them kind of, they're releasing on the Nike website on like November 7th, so probably after this podcast has already come out, but they had like a one size only run at my local skate shop called Fast Times.
Wow.
And it was like one size per pair, and they're like first come first serve. So I got there like an hour before they opened up, and there was like two people in front of me, and I was really hoping that none of them were a size 9. And luckily they weren't. Awesome. They were actually, funnily enough, they were actually there for the Casio ring watches. I don't know if you've seen those.
Oh,
yeah, it's like a little watch that you wear on your ring, and they were releasing them at the same time. And I was like, oh, sweet. So I was actually the first one to grab any of the pairs. So there you go. That was an awesome kind of pickup. Anything else that you've kind of been feeling the last couple of weeks or picked up in the last few days?
I haven't. I've actually slowed down quite a bit on pickups.
Mm-hmm.
John Geiger's stuff has been phenomenal, so I've been really liking. He sent over his like friends and family 004. His 005 is coming out, and I got to see the shoe in person. That shoe is going to be great, but even some more colorways of the 004 that he has are going to be great. So yeah, I've actually slowed down quite a bit. I'm trying to make room for more things before I buy more because it's just getting out of hand.
Yeah. That time of year. Yeah. It's that time of year.
The J tips. I think the poison ivy. No. The peach one. What was?
Yeah, that peach one, that was like the only colorway that we got here in Australia. Unfortunately.
Really?
Yeah, that was the only one we got, and like it was like 10 stores. It was one of the widest releases I've seen in a long time for a J-tip shoe. And yeah, I didn't pick it up. I just had too many other shoes going on. Speaking of, I'll just quickly run through them because I want to give you as much time. The Amine 2000s, they're awesome. Done a review of those if you want to see them on the channel, long form, short form on Instagram as well. Can
I ask you what your thoughts are on Amine? Like, what do you think his future is with New Balance?
I would probably like to see him do a little bit, maybe a made in USA model, something a little bit less synthetic, perhaps. Like he's done the 610, the 740, now the 2000. Like maybe something a little bit more, even a 574, something like that. Something with some suede, some sort of natural materials. But I don't know if that's his style. I think he's more of a loud, bright kind of guy. One thing I really wish he would do is get rid of the toggle laces, like these little hiking laces things. I don't know. It's just my personal preference. I like my shoes nice and tight, and it's really hard to get them to a really tight point because they're like an elastic. It's not like the Salomon kind of toggle laces where they're actually meant for hiking and tightening. These ones are very loose. So that's one thing I would say. What's your thoughts about kind of his trajectory with New Balance?
I mean, it's interesting. He when he first signed with New Balance, I felt like he was kind of peaking as an artist, like at the height of his popularity. I don't know how global he is. Like, I don't know if anyone in Australia listens to him, but
not really, to be honest.
Yeah, he's not. He's very niche artist. Like, he is not what, I don't know, like even Action Bronson, who I felt was kind of a niche artist, has kind of turned into more of a like global collaborator, right? Like I think his collaborations, and I don't think Amine has done what maybe they were hoping he did, but I don't know. It's interesting. I wonder how many more shoes he has on his deal, and I'm glad that they're giving him a chance. And I know he and I think it was Salehi were really good friends, and so I don't know. I'm curious to see where the partnership will go because I don't know that he drives that much excitement. Maybe he does. Maybe the numbers show otherwise, but I'm curious to see how long that will last.
I mean, his shoe was it's sat for a long time. It's not like it's sold out. I think there are still some sizes available, but that's kind of, I suppose, to do with how much stock there is. So just because a shoe doesn't sell out or does sell out doesn't mean that it was popular or wasn't. So it's interesting. But I mean, I already knew about Action Bronson long before he was like into New Balance, like in
Yeah.
collaboration with New Balance. I knew about him probably 10 to 12 years ago, like long time ago, before I left school. So I mean, maybe that's just my music taste or something, but I mean,
Yeah.
he already had been an Australian presence before New
Good.
Balance and sneakers. So anyway, I'll definitely be wearing these a lot. I love the green, love the loud, vibrant. I also love that they glow in the dark. That's kind of cool. I
That
wore
is cool.
them.
That's a cool detail.
I wore them to church yesterday, and I don't think I've gotten more comments about a shoe in a long time before wearing those. So that was pretty fun. Another pair that I got. Very fortunate to be sent these actually by ASICS Australia was the latest Finesse. So
Hey.
Finesse store is a store in Melbourne, Australia, and they're releasing this shoe on November 7th, and they got me to do a review on them, which I have just posted on the day of recording this, so you probably might have already seen it on the channel. But yeah, these are awesome, man. Like they're called the Desert Rose. I think technically they are like a special mock-up. They don't have Finesse branding, which is the store, on the shoe anywhere. But they definitely had a big hand in designing and choosing the materials. And I don't know if you can kind of see, it's very intricate kind of laced mesh kind of material. You got toggle laces on there. You got the kind of branding, pink and black. Really, really clean, really cool, very comfortable. Yeah, super happy about these ones. And you should.
Well, I'm glad you got those, man. That's a testament to your hard work and the effort you've been putting in, and hopefully, like, more stores and brands in Australia start realizing that you're becoming like a spokesperson. They need a presence in those areas, and they need someone to champion them there. So I'm glad that they're seeing that and hopefully continue to reward your hard work.
Thanks, man. And I'm same goes to you when you kind of promote guys like John Geiger, those kind of shoes. Like I wouldn't have probably known about John Geiger if I didn't have already tapped into like your content. And I mean, there's a few now that promote him, but I think you were the first one that I saw his sneakers on your channel. So I mean, it kind of goes both ways. Where I love it when Australian brands get pushed into the limelight in America, and then same thing where smaller independent artists or stores in America get pushed to Australia. So I think that's kind of the beauty of brands collaborating with other brands. And no, it's really cool. ASICS has been amazing in Australia so far. And I think going on that same theme, there's the latest up there, Gel Cayano 12.1.
Those are amazing. I like those so much. Those are so clean on foot.
Yeah, very, very clean. Matt Welty wore them on day one of the complex. So which we'll get into in a second. But yeah, these are super nice. I am definitely very happy about these. I couldn't let my collection go. I was thinking about not getting them, and then I'm very, very glad I did because they are super clean in hand, like icy, so nice. But I still like the first one, the green one. I don't know if you saw those as well, but I still like them.
I think so. Yeah.
I do have them here, but I didn't have them prepared, so forgive my tardiness. But here they are.
Those ones are really good. Both of them are awesome.
So it's a bit of a yin yang kind of situation. You got the dark one, and then you kind of got but up there, amazing Australian store, really great stuff. Awesome collaborations, New Balance, ASICS, all of that sort of stuff. But again, ASICS has been amazing so far in Australia for 2025, and continuing on, getting bigger and better. But again, man, thank you so much for coming on. Let's chat a little bit about your complex experience. You got a little bit of a cold, as we can kind of hear. I heard some other people got that. So what was kind of, you're all in close proximity. Take us back to the beginning, day zero. You're in Las Vegas. How did you kind of meet up with everyone and kind of get this ball rolling?
Man, it was a whirlwind of a weekend. I wanted to say shout out to my wife first and foremost for holding down the fort while I got to go play with friends for a weekend. So we'll start with day zero. Day zero actually started at 1 a.m. because Haas, my first kicks, was flying into town. And American hotels, I don't know if it is in Australia. Usually you can't check in till like 3 p.m. So I just let him crash in my house. So I picked him up from the airport, let him crash in my house. Then at like 7 a.m, we got up and we went to pick up AD from the airport.
Yeah.
And I don't know how AD survived the weekend, man, because he was in Cincinnati the night before for the Unheard Of brand release of their forum, their collaboration with FC Cincinnati. And so we went and picked him up, and then the day was just started from there. Like we went and got breakfast. We went to uh, the convention center to Will Call to pick up our tickets or our guest passes. And then from there, it was getting ready for the podcast with John Geiger. So my first kicks to set up an interview with John Geiger for his podcast. And so I was doing the recording for it. So we went and grabbed all the stuff from my house, drove over to, well, when we were leaving, it's kind of funny. We were leaving the convention center after we had picked up our passes. Brendan Dunn was walking back to the convention center. He had just finished eating tacos or something. So we kind of pulled up on him and said, hey, and that was a kind of cool little thing. But we went, met up with John Geiger. I don't have enough kind words to say about him, man. If you guys are looking for an independent brand to support, he's one of the most genuine dudes in the space. Just showed us everything, pretty much invited us up to his hotel room, offered us food and drinks, and we filmed the podcast and had a lot of conversation before then. And he showed us the samples of the 005s, talked a little bit more about what's coming with the 004 line. He's even already thinking about an 006. So just a lot of things that he actually discussed on the podcast. So go check that out.
Yeah.
From there, I was actually invited out to a StockX dinner, which was kind of crazy. Shout out to Brendan Dunn. He invited me out. AD was there. Chef Dumi was there. The girls from Elena from the Sneaky League podcast was there. Tiana, a bunch. Even the guys from Eastside Golf were there, which is kind of crazy to me. Most expensive Japanese spot ever. I would never be able to afford it on my own. So thank you to StockX for footing the bill. I was sending my wife pictures of the food because she loves Japanese food. And so I was like, well, hey, you can live vicariously through me because we'll never be able to afford coming here. But that was cool. You got to see a different side of like these people, right? You get to break bread with them, and met some people from StockX's social team. So that was cool. Then dinner got over around 9, and then went home, got ready for day 1. So that was kind of day 0. It was action packed from 1 a.m. through like 10 p.m.
Wow, man. I mean, how many coffees, how many energy drinks did you have to consume in that time?
Man, I just slept really well on Friday.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Really well.
Fair enough. I mean, a couple of notes on that. Like, first of all, shout out to Unheard of Brand and Philip, and that's I mean, we could talk about that as well. I know you didn't go to that one, that drop at FC Cincinnati, but I love that 2-pack, a little bit of a 3-pack, 2.5-pack, I'm going to say. Like there was one colorway, the blue one was my favorite out of all the 3. That you'll be able to see them on screen. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can see all those 3. They did a FC Cincinnati soccer team. They did a collaboration, and there was a cool event. I love like the skull branding on those as well. That was pretty cool. Side tangent, of course, AD Sneaks was out there, and then to the effort to get to ComplexCon in that time is pretty unparalleled. Must have taken time off work and stuff, and you can tell why he's a little bit sick at the moment because that's a long day. But and then obviously I would love to get a pair of the John Geiger 004s one day. I think. I thought I saw a store in Australia thinking about stocking them, but not yet. We'll get that one of those one day. I saw that he did, a child of Andrew AD Sneaks' what was it? Classroom. They did like, and they created a design, and John Geiger put it on the shoe. And has he sold that one yet or released it?
Yeah, so they did a pre-order of it and sold out like a crazy ton. It went straight to production. I think he already had. They're selling us that Monday, so last Monday, they would have received their first sample of the shoe, and then of course from there they go back and forth with the factory to kind of perfect what the design looks like, and then send it to full production. But I think they already had their first sample of it. They're hoping December to have the shoe to all those who pre-ordered it. So that's crazy. That's another reason, like how many, like. He's donating essentially the entire, all that he makes from that to help build a new design lab at AD School. Like just as an independent brand, when revenue is kind of everything, right? Like you don't have the backing of a major corporation to then say, I'm just gonna donate this entire release to these kids is incredible, man.
Yeah.
Like incredible.
And he also did a release with like the US Army, which I was like, I tried to get it and they can't ship it to Australia. There was no shipping
Oh,
available to Australia. So, I mean, yeah, I'm pretty used to that at this time in my sneaker life. But hey, it's cool. That was an awesome colorway. And yeah, again, if you want to go and check out that podcast, it's live right now. I'll link it down in the description as well. Go and subscribe to My First Kicks pod as well. And then continuing on from there, you're at like a dinner with StockX. Like that's pretty cool, man. Like I saw you had your own like name place card. Like what was that? I know you already spoke about the food, but what was that kind of, I suppose, taking your online presence and translating it into like a in-person event? Did that feel a bit weird or like totally natural?
man, I think imposter syndrome, right? Like, I don't have 15,000 followers or 20,000 followers,
Yeah.
so it's always cool when someone recognizes the work that you do. And Brendan reached out to me and said, "Hey, I'd love for you to be at this dinner. I'm putting together a dinner." And yeah, like I said, even the guys behind Eastside Golf were there. So I was just kind of looking around. Shout out to Chef Doomy was there. 80 Sneaks was there. Some editors from Complex were there. So it's kind of like unique, right? Like we take this online experience and we make connections and we put out content, sometimes not really knowing what the impact of it is, right? Or like what is going well with it. And then to see that some of these people like appreciate what you do or see what you do is kind of a cool feeling. And so yeah, it was kind of cool. You get there, we had our nameplates, we had $100 off StockX cards there as well. So definitely going to be copying something soon. But yeah, it was cool to have kind of uncut, raw conversations about things that me and you will talk about, right? Like you sometimes feel like you meet these people and you kind of don't know how, they say never meet your idols, right? Like you don't know what it's going to be like. You're kind of checking the temperature, but it was just authentic conversations. And that was dope. Like hearing Brendan's thoughts on the shoe of the year, or him asking us like, what our thoughts were, what some of our favorite releases were.
Yeah, nice.
That was cool.
What were kind of some of his under the radar type picks that he wanted to talk about? I know he probably talked about the Evo SL from Adidas. Was there any other shoes that you were like, oh, I didn't know you liked that one?
I'm trying to remember. I think you hit a spot on the Evo SL. That's kind of his vibe, right? Like I think like all those guys kind of have their own vibe. Like you with the up there A6, those. That's totally him. The running shoes, I think Brendan, the Evo, also the Vomero Premium. I think he ran a marathon in those, or like a long race in those. So those are kind of the shoes he really looks for. And I think on the sneaker of the year panel, he wore like those, like those Vans, the ones with all the diamonds on it or something, or the jewelry on it.
Yeah.
So he's just different,
Yeah, it's a niche
he's
within a niche.
Genuine. Yeah, he's a very genuine person, though. That's the cool thing, is like he listens very well. Like for someone that's so used to being on camera and so used to like being listened to, he's very good listener. Like he listens intentionally to what you're saying. And so that was something that I took away from that. That was kind of cool, because you never know, right? Someone is so used to always being at the middle or center of attention, how they handle turning some of that attention over. And it was kind of a cool showing of his character, how well he listened.
And the imposter syndrome, like you said, that must be, I mean, I would have that, especially if I was in that room. Like I'd be like, who on earth am I? Like from some guy from Australia, like that would be my kind of vibe. So I totally understand that. And did you find a way to kind of overcome that?
Yeah, just through sneakers. That was the cool thing, right? It's just like once you start talking about sneakers, I'm sure you feel the same way. You kind of feel at home, you kind of feel comfortable. And so once the conversation kind of headed in that direction, and we are talking about just impact of this year, and it was kind of like friendly banter, right? Like we all didn't agree on some things. And so that was kind of a cool thing. But yeah, once we start talking sneakers, then I'm kind of in my comfort zone.
Yeah. Everyone can kind of have their own opinion, and as long as you're, like respectful, I feel like sometimes some debates, even about sneakers, but especially other things in life, they can get a bit nasty sometimes if you don't agree. And I think as long as people keep
Yeah.
a civil discussion, and especially it's just sneakers, it's not like we're talking life or death here.
Yeah.
So keep it civil, and everyone can just have fun and have a good time. And I think on day one you had a lot of fun as well. So give us a little bit of a rundown about how the actual Complex Con started for you.
Okay, Complex Con was overwhelming in like a good way, if I could say that. Like the space is massive, so huge convention center. I think Sneaker Fetish was saying it's something like 2 million square feet, like something just
Whoa.
massive. And like I spent all day there the first day, and I didn't see half the booths. Like that's how crazy it is that you can spend 10 hours somewhere
Yeah.
and not even get to half of it.
Yeah.
Um, I really shout out to so I walked in, and the first booth you see there is Bored Ape Club, or Bored Ape Yacht Club.
Yeah.
They did several collaborations for Complex Con. And then immediately after was Jay Tips. And I was kind of like starstruck because that's Jay Tips, like that's this, he's produced some of the best shoes in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So I went up to him and he knew who I was. That was
Oh.
even crazier for me. He was like, "Yo, Aaron." And I was like, "Wait, what? Me, Aaron?" And he was like, "Hey, it's so dope to see the community here. Like, I appreciate what you do, man." And I'm like dabbing up Jay Tips, and he's like, he knew my name. Like that was crazy to me. He even let a couple of us in through his security at his booth. He said, "No, they're good, and let us in through his." So that was a surreal feeling, just like being there with Jay, and got to meet a couple of the other people over at Saucony, like Jason, and he's the head of like energy marketing over there. I believe it's his title.
Yeah.
At Saucony. But that was crazy. And then it just kind of turned into like just friends, like just hanging out with friends and going and seeing different booths. And we went over to the Ruckus booth and played Duck Hunt, and they were showing us their shoe. And then and I was pretty much with AD and Haas and Sneaker History Mike the entire time. But and then Kenneth Anon, if you don't know, Kenneth Anon is he was head of business development at Yeezy. He used to be the Yeezy Council, and he's defended. I think he's pretty much the main sneaker lawyer now. Like he's defended a ton of people in different lawsuits, and him, and yeah, it was cool, man. Like I appreciate the small brands investing in themselves because it's not cheap. I think it's like $10,000 for a small booth at Complex Con. And a lot of these small brands like selling clothes and things like that were there, and they had some really cool activations. Hellstar, their booth was crazy. I don't know if you've seen pictures of it, but their booth was phenomenal. They also released the Jordan 11 activation at Complex Con was crazy. Hidden was there.
Yeah.
Hidden had such a cool concept, man. You'd appreciate this. So they had these pamphlets that they were handing out, and in the pamphlets it was a ticket to buy the shoes, and you needed the ticket to buy the shoes. And you know how they were handing out the pamphlets?
Yeah. How
They had these like two missionary looking, like Jehovah Witness looking
no
couple
way.
just walking around Complex Con asking people to take these pamphlets, and they were like these religious kind of pamphlets that said "Awake now," and they were like, "We want to give you this." And so at first glance you're like,
no one's gonna take that.
No one wants to take that, because you're just like, you think they're like missionaries or something, right? And then so you're kind of just being respectful but saying no thank you. They were actually hired by Hidden to hand out the tickets to purchase the shoe. Like how cool is that?
Yeah. Man, far out. I would. It would throw me off a little bit, because I'd be like, "Wait, this is like Complex Con. Why are there?" I feel like my initial reaction would be like, "Why are these people here? It has to be something." But maybe I say that as revisionist history, But That's pretty funny. Like that's
It's
wild.
hilarious.
Just as
Like,
I never. On a side note, I never want to know who runs Hidden. I never want to know.
oh yeah,
I never. If that ever gets released or anyone wants to tell me, don't ever tell me that because I think it would
yeah,
just like you said, like you were talking about before. Don't meet your heroes. I never want to know
yeah.
who some of these Instagram people, anonymous Instagram people are. So sorry. Continue. That was just a side piece.
No, yeah, that was so cool. And then once I put it together, I'm like, this is genius because
Mm,
all these people, you're naturally like ignore them,
mm,
unfortunately, and they looked the part, and they were handing out this pamphlet. I wish I had it
yeah.
with me nearby because I would have showed you the actual pamphlet. Totally a
Mm,
religious like looking
yeah.
thing, and so shout out to Hidden. That was genius.
Yeah. Was that the
I'm
black
trying to
pair
think.
or because they had
The
two
black
pairs
pair.
there? So the black pair apparently is like 25 pairs. Is that true?
Yeah, it was the black pair.
Man.
I know, man.
Oh, I saw yeah a guy on Instagram called Bertie Mandaji who
Oh yeah,
has an Instagram
Birdie.
page called How to Sneakers. He's connected pretty heavily with Hidden and he got the black pair and the green pair. So I talked to him and he was like, yeah, it was super cool. He didn't tell me about the the Jehovah's Witnesses though, so
Yeah.
that's cool to know. But man, I would I would choose that black pair over that white and green pair any day. But that's just
I
me.
think Doomy got it too.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I think Doomy got the black
yeah,
pair. Their booth was super cool.
yeah,
Vandy had his booth there. It was just like that to me was the cool part about this was just like networking and meeting
mm,
people and um just kind of shaking hands in real life, right? Like I think that kind
yeah,
of puts everything into perspective. And I've been saying this a lot lately, but you can really have conversations offline that you can't really have online, right? Like
mm,
people are more willing to talk about upcoming projects and like
yeah,
collaborations in work that you can't really post that stuff online, right? Or
yeah,
even like risk DMing people about it and that being leaked or exposed, right? So like in person, there's a lot more willingness to share and talk about
mm,
projects and like inspiration and even like Steven Smith, the former designer at
yeah,
Yeezy, and he was there with Crocs because he designed that new Crocs that looks like a foam runner.
yeah,
But he was like, we were sitting there and he was telling me, he's like, yeah, Kanye's been texting me and he wants me to come back. And I'm like,
yeah,
what? And he's like, I told him you got to get your crop together and then I'll consider it. And then just the other day, maybe it was yesterday or Friday, he posted a picture with Kanye, like he was
yeah.
in a
I
meeting
was
with
literally about
Kanye.
to say that they're in like a green Maserati or something, like a green low top
Yeah.
sports car. Like,
And but where else can you like
mm,
talk to Steven Smith, right? Like
yeah,
this guy designed the 700, the Yeezy 700, which is my opinion probably the best one.
mm,
Um, but yeah, so day one, that was really the highlight for me
mm,
was just meeting people, talking to people, being in those same rooms. And then I think the conversation that meant the most to me, we were Billionaires Boys Club is they're back with Reebok and they're releasing the ice creams, which
mm-hmm.
are really dope.
Yeah, yeah,
Clips actually went to that booth, so everyone was following Clips to the
yeah,
booth, and Jock Slade. If you guys have been on sneaker YouTube for
yeah,
any time,
yeah,
Jock Slade has been around forever.
yeah,
Um, he pulled me aside, man, and we talked for like 5 minutes, and he just told me, bro, you're killing it. Like, he's like, you're doing things the right way. Like, it's going to pay off. Just keep doing it. You are killing it. And, bro, that to me meant the world
mm,
because, like I said, if you've been on any form of sneaker YouTube or sneaker content like Jock Slade, Cousteau,
yeah,
he's a legend in this, right? Like, he's been doing it for so long. And at one point or the other, you've followed his videos or seen his work. And then, so for me to meet him, to even know that I exist, and then to follow what I do and appreciate what I do
mm,
meant the world for me. But um, I definitely went home and crashed on Saturday night. I did not attend any post complex
yeah,
con
yeah,
day one
yeah,
activities, and there was a ton, man. Like Vandy had his party out here. JD Sports did a thing with Hoka. Like there was just so much going on.
yeah.
But I just knew that if I was going to be alive for day two, I
Yeah.
needed to get some sleep.
You spoke a little bit about Clips, and
Yeah.
they obviously were promoting the jellyfish, the Adidas jellyfish, the
Oh yeah.
blue colorway. Was there any like big artists or celebrities like them who were walking around and kind of had that following that people were like gravitating towards them? Was there anyone else that you noticed?
Yeah, it was a bunch of them, man. Yachty was there.
Mm.
Yachty was a big one, Lil
Yeah, yeah.
Yachty. He had like a small run of his Air Forces there.
Mm-hmm.
Salehi was there.
Yeah,
Salehi Bembury was
yeah.
there. Futura was there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeet. I don't know who Yeet is, but he's like very popular with the Gen Z crowd, like
Yeah,
the high school kids.
yeah.
Clips obviously had a huge following when they were walking around.
Mm-hmm.
Peso Pluma did sneaker shopping
Yeah.
at Riff Ballet's booth. So he had quite a bit of people following him around. Young Thug was there. Ken Carson was there. So like all these Gen Z, which was kind of, if I may add, kind of the disconnect in ComplexCon this year, because from everyone that you speak to about it, compared to last year when it was Travis Scott, a lot of people were saying that this year felt more like a family reunion. Like it was more for our generation and less Gen Z-ish,
Yeah, yeah.
where like, you know, less high school kids. But then the second day when Ken Carson and some of those other guys came, you could see that shift in like who was there. It was a lot younger of a demographic on day 2, just because, you know, this is who they listen to.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of the disconnect that I felt like ComplexCon as a whole catered to kind of our generation, but then the music catered to the younger crowd. And so there was definitely a separation of like who was there.
Yeah, right. Okay. Interesting. I mean, I didn't see a huge amount of the music acts. Obviously, I was kind of more tapped into like the sneaker side, but obviously I'm not like I don't really listen to Peso Pluma or anyone like Bad Bunny kind of in that Latin kind of Latin American artists. I don't really listen to them, so I didn't know that any of the artists that were kind of there. But yeah, that sounds like a little bit of a disconnect. Was that kind of annoying to you? Were there kids running around with like, obviously kids yell, kids scream, but you're a school teacher, so that would kind of be kind of normal to you?
Used to it. Yeah, I was kind of used to it, but I think also like they were following like streamers around, and I don't know the name of these streamers, but there were several streamers that had quite a huge crowd around them. And when I got to school that Monday, I was talking to my students. They were like, "Oh, did you see this guy or did you see this guy?" And I'm like, "I don't know who he is," but there were a couple of like streamers that were there that the kids were really excited about being there. So I don't think it affected me as much because that wasn't who I was there with or looking for, right? Like when that was happening, I was checking out other booths that like a smaller brands and things like that. So
I feel you.
For me it didn't interrupt it too much.
I think that's kind of where I am at in like life. I'm not like, obviously we love like the big brands, but I'm much more interested in the kind of smaller brands who are a bit more authentic. And I mean, it's just you're in as you get older, you go further into a certain niche, and that's just kind of where you go. And when you're a kid, your world is so big, and then it kind of narrows and focuses down into little pieces. But before you quickly get onto day 2, which is kind of the whole the tipping point, like the nexus of the whole event. I heard a joke that you might like, and it just came to mind when we were talking about Peso Pluma and Bad Bunny. It was Bad Bunny is just a classic case of nepotism. His dad Bugs has been doing it for a long time.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
I think I might bring a dad joke onto the podcast soon enough, because it'll be, I think we're counting down till about 2.5 months now until our baby comes. Crazy. So I might start introducing a dad joke segment to try and get the ball rolling soon enough. So again, I'm going to be leaning on guys like yourself for some dad advice. The dad to 2 daughters, and we'll see where that takes us. But again, we're going to be talking a little bit more about day 2, which was the peak of ComplexCon, so to speak. But how did your day start, and run us kind of into the lead up to the Sneaker of the Year panel?
Yeah, I think day 2, that was what I was most interested in, right? Like, I didn't really go to ComplexCon with the intention to buy or purchase a lot of things. So for me, it was all about just experiencing it the first time, because to buy things, like, you had to wait in line for a long time, right? Like,
Yeah.
anyone who bought things would tell you that they were in line for probably 1 to 2 hours. And for me, I was just like,
Wow.
I don't know that I want to waste 1 to 2 hours at a time to purchase a product, right? And then there was a case of like products selling out, right? Like, people would
Yeah.
wait in line. I know for the Health Star Adidas, people waited in line for 2 hours and got up to the front and they no longer had their size, right? And so I was like, dang, that's 2 hours wasted of
Yeah.
just standing there. So I actually got to Complex Con a lot later on day two, just the luxury of living here,
Mm.
and went to church with my family in the morning. And I cared mostly about the sneaker of the year panel. So I went, we walked around some booths, met up with Bima, got to say hi to Bima, Williams, and then we went up and waited for the sneaker of the year panel. We got there about 4:15,
Mm-hmm.
4 or 5. So we were about to 10 people in line. So we got a really good seat. We got to sit up front.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like, when I see all this online discourse about the sneaker of the year list, and I don't know if you wanted to get right into it, but I think people will be a lot more receptive to the list when they see the panel around it, because I think it's there for entertainment. Fat
Mm.
Joe was definitely the comedic relief.
Mm.
Like, he was cracking jokes left and right. And I think the crowd, for the most part, agreed with the list.
Mm.
Um, and so, yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if you had any specific questions
I
about it
mean,
before I tell you my experience, but
basically, it was it's Sunday night for you, Monday morning for
yeah.
me. I was at work, but I had an Instagram live up because someone was streaming it from their Meta glasses. Kick Story podcast. They were
Yeah.
doing it. They actually their glasses died about at number 4. So I was
Oof.
texting a few people to like keep me updated who was 321, even though I kind of already knew who would be 321 based on the
Yeah.
shoes that weren't there. But no, that was cool, and getting to hear some of it and see some of it, and yeah, it definitely seemed like a lot of people had there was a lot of applause, there was a lot of agreement, but there was a few like, of course, when a shoe gets announced. But there's the vocal people who are like, oh, that's terrible. But I mean,
Yeah.
just from the start, did they kind of was it more of like we're a big show, like we're entertaining you, or is it like we're sitting down, we're serious, we're chatting about sneakers?
So I think the setup of it was the list was already established.
Mm.
They were just there to kind of talk about each of the
Yeah.
shoes that were on the list.
Yeah.
And they all didn't necessarily agree with the shoes that were on the list. So that's kind of interesting to me, is
Yeah.
that kind of feels like there was a survey, and from the survey, these shoes got picked.
Mm.
So they were able to have a discussion about the shoes on the panel. And I believe that I think that their individual top 10 list will look a lot different. Like, I don't think that their top 10 list would be anything like what the Complex total list ended up being.
Mm.
But really, the only shoes that got any pushback from the crowd were the Yachty Forces and the Shea 001s.
Mm.
Maybe the Neon 95s, because
Yeah.
I think if the Levi 95s had not been on the list already, people, I think, thought there should have been a 95 on the list because of the year that they had. But I think because the Levi's were on there, having the 95s, the neon ones there, and also higher at like number 3, I think they were kind of turned people off from the list. I also don't agree with that. I don't think the Levi 95 was a top 10 sneaker this year. But I do think that a 95 needed to be on that list.
Yeah, it's one of those. I think the Levi's one from the stream that I saw, which I was just trying to reach down and grab them because I didn't include this in my pickups, but they had a kind of shock drop here in Australia. Maybe I think I already talked about them, posted like a video about them. But yeah, these are not, without a shadow of a doubt, a top 10. Like no, like put your hands down, no debate. These are these are incredible. Like I don't know, the colors, the pattern, the texture, the comfort. It's just the branding, the everything. It just ticks all the boxes for me. Like it's awesome. It's the best 95 that came out this year. So I thought the neon's up there. I think obviously because of the history, but also it's a very American list. A lot of like
Yeah.
obviously Complex is very American. If it was British, I feel like the 95 would be much further up there because it
Yeah.
feels like there's a much more of there's a larger culture of the Air Max line in the UK.
And I
So
think just runners overall, right? Like the
yeah,
list was a very lackluster because runners had such a big year
yeah,
and yet were very underrepresented on the list. And so, but yeah, it is a very American list, and
hmm
it is a very Nike Jordan heavy list. And then just numerically looking at the list, they just outnumbered every other brand as far as releases, right? Like
yeah,
every week there was like 3 to 4 5 Jordan Nike releases compared to like the one, collaboration from Saucony or Adidas or
yeah,
I personally, I mean, the jellyfish was kind of undeniable. I feel like that shoe had to make the top 10 list, but I do feel that I think personally Adidas had a way better year than was represented on that list, right? Like I think there are so many shoes that Adidas dropped that were worthy of
hmm
that. So,
yeah.
but yeah, there's the list. We'll start with number 10.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of cycling through them because I'm sure if you're watching this, we're a little bit, past. If you're watching this, you've probably already seen it because, I mean, it's the list has kind of been everywhere. And yes, they haven't released the actual video of the podcast yet. There's been photos, and everyone knows what's going on. And but I mean, you can kind of see the Jordan and Nike influence. It's kind of some people actually were very good at predicting what was going to be on the list. Saw a podcast called the Triple Up podcast. They almost nailed the entire list because of the interviews, the discussion that they had on previous episodes of the Complex podcast. So they kind of easy to see, but I mean, there's always going to be a little bit of pushback. Myself, I understand that there were so many shoes, but I just stopped on this one. The Yachty one was one that I really, I didn't agree with. I couldn't agree with this at all, being on the top 10,
Yeah.
even like top 20. I'm sorry, I just couldn't. I'm not even not a big fan of it, but that's just my own like personal bias. Was this the one that you thought that people definitely disagreed with the most?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I had that shoe as a top 10 sneaker of the year because but that's the beauty of the list, right?
Yeah.
Like I think it's great that there's this dialogue around it because for me, I always say this, but that 2005 to 2004 to like 2008, like that's the era that I fell in love with
Yeah.
sneakers, and that was a huge patent leather
Yeah.
Air Force era, right?
The
Like that's when we
Bapes,
got
yeah.
all of the classics, and Bapes were heavy in that time. And so for me, this shoe was like a callback to that time period, and so I thought that a lot of the OG sneakerheads would love it. But I do think unanimously this was the shoe that people felt should not have been on the list. Like this was the consensus, like the Yachty Air Forces shouldn't have been on the list.
Yeah.
And I can see that because it is also a very niche shoe, right? So I can agree with that. I can agree with the Yachty's not being on. Just consensus. I have it on my personal top 10 of the year, but I don't have it. Who knows? I haven't sat down actually and done my top 10. I think it'll be on there. But yeah, that was overall when they announced the Yachty. A lot of people were like, what?
Yeah. I mean, I can kind of understand, but I just think with the amount that they connect with Little Yachty and the fact that his somewhat plain initial Concrete Boys one was on there last year, I was like, there's no doubt that this other one's going to be on there. This Shea one was definitely not surprising at all that was on there. It was, that was a pretty easy. I don't know. They like having a active basketball player on the list, and Anthony Edwards. I think the timing of it last year, this year as well, with the the release of the Shea one was pretty close to the panel. So the recency bias was sort of there, and I think that, I don't know if you feel this, but does number 10 become a bit of a token spot sometimes?
I definitely think that the number 10 spot for it was kind of just like, we need a new silhouette on the list, right? Like we need to pay. And I think a lot of people were upset that the Asia 1 wasn't on there because she also had a legendary season, right? The Aces won. They swept in the finals.
Yeah.
The first couple colorways sold out
Mm-hmm.
immediately. And then she was the league MVP. She's kind of, people are calling her the Michael Jordan of the WNBA, right? Like she's doing phenomenal. But I do think that the Shea was like, it also sold out. He also is coming off of an MVP season. He just won the finals. And, all 4 colorways so far that have come out have sold out. So it is kind of the new shoe on the list, right? Like the new sneaker model to kind of, I say in a way, authenticate the list because, people would complain. It was like, why are there no new models on the list, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I get what you mean, but I feel that there was definitely a big lack of even one New Balance model or one ASICS model in 10. I feel like, I don't know, to me, it was very glaring that there was not even one ASICS on the I don't know, it might just be my own personal bias, but ASICS has done so many good things this year, or even just one of New Balance or ASICS on the list would have been good. But was there any discussion around that in Saucony? Yeah,
they did shout out a couple. So like I said, when people watch the panel when they release it, I think it'll bring clarity to a lot of this because even the panelists like mentioned, because Tips was there. Tips was in the front row. And they called to him, and they're like, he did incredible things this year. They even brought up the Phil Unheard of Piggy Runners as a potential candidate for the list. And so I think that ASICS deserve, not just because they did a lot of cool things this year, but it's also what we're seeing on foot a lot in America. Like ASICS and New Balances are the kids' Jordans and Nikes now. Like the kids went from wearing Jordan 4s and Jordan 1s to now wearing Sambas and ASIC 1130s and New Balance 740s or whatever. That's what we're seeing on foot. So there should have been something on the list that represented that. But again, it's you can tell there was some dissension amongst the panelists of what should have been on the list.
Or was there a bit of a consensus around this sneaker, the black metallic fives? Fives had a pretty big year. There was definitely a lot of people who love this shoe. Joe LaPuma is probably the front runner as the one who loved it the most. Was there any were people like this should have been higher or not on the list at all?
No, that was like a unanimous love from the crowd. Everyone was like, "Yep, the metallic fives." They were done well. They're reimagined in a good way. It's a classic sneaker, right? Like it's up there in staples for sneakers. That was a consensus. I think what troubled people was the multiple of the same silhouettes, right? Like there are 2 5s on the list, there are 2 4s on the list, 2 95s. So 3 silhouettes took up 6 spots, and so that I think troubled some people, but the 2 5s, I think a lot of them agreed with. So it's hard to also debate that.
Yeah, the other 5, of course, you can see on screen now is the Awake 5s. That was I knew that was kind of going to be on there. For me, it's not one of my favorites, but I mean, I hope people understand this by now. I'm not a 5s guy, but I'm sure other people are, but I'm definitely not a 5s guy. So, it was cool. I don't know. I don't really want to speak too much about it because I don't say positive things about Jordan 5s and people come after me for it. So
I didn't think this was not as a very popular release, right? Like I think we can acknowledge that, but not personally for me. Like I didn't think this was a good shoe. But I just acknowledge like you, like I'm not the biggest fan of 5s. Like the tongue always kills me. I don't like the way the shoe looks on foot. But I can't deny that this shoe had a moment, right?
For me, it's the silhouette, my build, 6'2", kind of, somewhat slim. It just looks weird, and I live in a hot climate. I can't wear them for 7 months of the year, so it's not worth me having. I have like 1 pair of Jordan 5s, so I don't wear them very often at all. And again, I'm mainly wearing runners, and being here in Australia, everyone kind of wears runners, and the fact that not really one. I suppose you might consider the Air Max 95 a runner, maybe, but there wasn't like an actual kind of mesh synthetic runner when it feels like there was a lot of those this year. Maybe speaks to a little bit of the disconnect. Did you feel any of that from the panel? Were they like acknowledging that, yes, we're in a very privileged position where we get the best of the best sneakers and everyone else kind of doesn't get a chance at the brick by bricks, for example, or the undefeateds? Like, was there any of that acknowledgement?
No, I don't think so. I think because like you stated before, it is a very US centric like media platform, right? Um, I do think though that they're zoomed out in a way that I think the average consumer like me and you aren't. Even though we talk about this space and we are interested in all the releases, the metrics that they consider come from a more zoomed out perspective. So that's why I didn't have too much of a problem with the list, because if I were sitting there and I'm like, I'm interacting with millions of people per my platform daily about sneakers, like I'm using those conversations to kind of guide my choices as opposed to my personal preferences. And so I understand that, the 2,000 people I follow may be because they see things like me and you, right? Like we both feel like there should have been more runners on the top 10. But if I'm like zoomed out and I have this larger, less than committed consumer, right? Like the casual consumer that's just, hey, I'm gonna walk into Foot Locker and see what they have today, right? That I do acknowledge that some of these choices may be a reflection of that. Like someone on Twitter said it best, like they're a barber and they have a pretty active barber shop, and they're like, I walked in with like the grandma's couches on, and everyone's asking me like what those were. But then when I walked in with the metallic fives, everyone knew what those were. Like everyone was complimenting those. So for me, I'm like, they're trying to, their list comes from that perspective. So,
yeah, I get you. And I know we're getting close to an hour, so I really do appreciate everybody for listening. I'm going to keep going. We've got a couple more to talk about. And of course, Aaron's been very, very gracious with his time, and we don't get to talk to him often. And I really want to keep pushing this. So if you've made it this far, thank you so much again. If you're listening on audio platform or watching us on YouTube, which I do encourage watching on YouTube, because you get to see a lot of the pictures, and doing a lot of the video kind of enhances, I feel like, a little bit of the viewing and listening experience. So again, thank you everyone for listening to us. We'll continue on with the top 4, which was a pretty consensus. I feel like it was hard to dispute having the jellyfish at number 4 for kind of the momentum that it had from the first images that we saw. It was tough to deny. I feel like that's the colorway, sure, they're all pretty much the same, gray, green, blue, orange, put whatever colorway you want. It's more the silhouette that kind of pops for this one, and it's just, I feel like it was undeniable. And one day I'll be able to, I have held a pair in hand, but one day I'll get a pair for myself, maybe when the stock numbers start to climb a little bit higher. But this was kind of one that everyone agreed on, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I think this was undeniable, and I think the rollout has been great, right? Like this is a shoe that's maintained its kind of demand throughout the teasers and all these things, and I think this kind of saved the list from being a complete abomination in the eyes of people, right? Like the one Adidas model to make the list. But this is pretty undeniable. It was one of the most seen on foot at ComplexCon, which is kind of crazy because the numbers haven't been crazy high. So
but I get that
on foot a lot.
I get that, because if you're gonna want to rock something at a sneaker convention, you want something big and loud, and and then you had like Upscale Vandu, who had the what do you call them, the stingrays, or what were they called?
The squids.
The squids. I don't know if that's the actual name, is it? The rip-off version.
So I actually saw those over the summer. I had a chance to go to Oregon, and Adidas invited me to their headquarters. So I saw those. And it's essentially, every brand does like a takedown version of the very hype sneakers, right? Like when Yeezy had the 350s, Adidas did the tubulars. Do you remember those? Like the tubular shoes, and those are kind of the takedown Yeezys. So I think they have some cool colorways of those, and I think it's I'm curious to see what the reception will be like once they do come out, because they already have the Addy Star, right? Which the jellyfish is kind of the luxury version per se of that. And then you add this kind of takedown model that's a bulkier Addy Star, but not as bulky as the
Mm.
jellyfish. So it kind of exists in this weird in between
Yeah.
space. So I'm curious to see what the reception is. They have some dope colorways in the pipeline. So I'm curious to see what the community will think once more colorways are rolled out.
Yeah, I think it's people wanting to be a part of that aesthetic but can't afford the $300 US, or for me like 450, close to 500 when you add like when you add that shipping and stuff. But I mean, I buy made in USA models that are close to $400. So there's a certain but then also you're getting more premium materials. Anyway, I won't get into all of that, but I think that this was okay to be at number 4. There was number 3. We've already kind of talked about it. The Air Max 95 Neon, the OG, the Big Bubble, the updated version. I think this was a in my mind, I have no trouble with this. To be honest, I don't have any problem with like the top 5. Like it is the mass market darlings. The neons were everywhere. The jellyfish was everywhere. And then obviously number 2 was the undefeated 4s, and number 1 clearly was. Sorry, I jumped a little bit too far there. The brick by brick. So yeah, 2 4s in the top 2. Of course, people thought that 4s kind of had their moment like 2 years ago, but nope, they're still going strong. You put dope colorways and bring back one of the most grail sneakers of all time as a retro, you're going to get numbers. These were both, I'm assuming, met with pretty well-rounded applause.
Yeah, people love these, and this is, I think, the part that got Complex in trouble, or a lot of people are upset about, because I'm sure you saw, but like at the end of the panel, Joe LaPuma goes, "We have a special message from Nigel." Nigel had a pre-recorded video that was like, "Man, I can't believe my sneaker is the sneaker of the year, brick by brick 4s. Like, this is amazing. So Vegas, I have a surprise for you."
Yeah.
And then Joe's like, "Everyone should probably run outside now." And so everyone got up and ran outside.
Yeah.
And then, maybe 5-10 minutes later, Nigel Sylvester comes with the brick by brick truck, and they do a sneakers shock drop of the brick by brick 4s right then and there. And he's throwing out shirts, t-shirts from on top of the truck. And so that was cool to see him and to have that experience. But it does kind of make you feel like, the video didn't match being outside. Like, it was shot in the day. It was already dark in Vegas. So there's a pre-recorded video.
Yeah.
Sneakers had to allocate stock to this event. So it's like they've known about it for weeks. So anyways, that's, I think, what people were discontent with, because they're like, he knew he was winning sneaker of the year. And to be fair, I think it was consensus, right? Like, I think if you polled 1,000 people, a good 75% would probably say that the brick by brick 4 was the sneaker of the year. So
yeah, I mean, I have very, very fortunately been able to get both of these. And when I say both of these, I mean undefeated 4s and the brick by bricks. And I'll be honest, the brick by bricks have not been on my feet as much as the undefeateds. Definitely in the winter time, kind of when I was able to, it wasn't so hot, able to wear the Jordan 4s, I definitely wore the undefeateds more. I don't know what it was. I just feel the colorway a little bit like more wearable. But it's hard to deny the momentum and the rollout that the Jordan, that the brick by bricks had. And especially also pairing with his Jordan 1. I think it's clear that Nigel Sylvester has been the best collaborator in a long time, which makes me think, like, why wasn't he on the top of their power rankings? But that's a whole nother thing. So, and I did see that another creator who I think you were sitting next to, Seth Eaton, he grabbed the brick by brick. Again, same old Seth. You probably already know him if you're watching this. He got a pair of the brick by brick, but they sent him the wrong size. I don't know if you saw that on his on his Instagram, but they sent him the wrong size. And
I was talking to him about that.
that's so stupid. Yeah. Anyway, I think the whole thing, that the video being from the day and it was nighttime when they actually came outside, it's probably a little bit niche in terms of like the video editing side of us, probably a little bit too nitpicking on that sort of thing. But hey, video calling is very easy to get into AV production these days. So I don't know why they didn't just do it live. But anyway, that's my professional take. But man, overall, you were pretty happy with the list and overall with the event. You sound like you're pretty stoked about being there. Has it, I suppose, ignited a fire within you? Has it wanted you to do more, continue? Sometimes you need these markers where you're going along and it feels like you're doing something, okay, stagnate for a little bit. And does this give you more of an impetus to keep going?
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
man. Like I think overall the event, great experience. Like it was phenomenal. 10 out of 10 recommend it. Like for you, I know that's like jumping over the world to
Yeah.
get here, but if it's ever possible or someone from A6 Australia is watching this, sponsor my guy Harrison, get him a flight, get him a hotel so that he could be here next year for Complex Con and provide you guys good coverage. The list, I'm not satisfied with the list. I would say that I understand it, but I think like you, I think there's more that like, left things desired. Like I wanted to see more representation, and definitely put a battery in my pack, man, in my back, because I think sometimes when you're creating, and I don't know if you experience this too, but I feel like it's easy to fall into this mode where you either are in a creative rut or feel like because you're not going viral or because things are taking a little longer than you want, it feels like nobody's watching or no one cares or you're not doing something right.
Yeah.
And so you start to switch a little bit to look like what other people are doing and to create the way that other people are creating. But then you go to things like this and people appreciate you for your voice and what you bring, what you contribute. And it just reminds you like, it may not be for me to go viral with every video, but if like 5 or 6 people came up to you and were like, hey, your stuff is dope, like in person, that's huge, right? Like that's more than what likes and follows can account for. So it's definitely put a battery in my back to just be consistent with what I do, because ultimately I know that like people care enough, to come to me and tell me that they know me at ComplexCon, and I don't have 100,000 followers, but that hasn't limited my impact, right? And so just keep doing what I'm doing and you doing what you're doing, I think.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a good lesson, and I think that there's a lot of people who do chase a lot of the, I suppose, viral moments where they, I suppose, try and get a flash in the pan to try and quick kickstart things. But I think that a lot of people will find that if they do that, they will sometimes just then fall off because the audience that they garner from that viral moment aren't there for the consistency. They're there for another viral moment, and they'll quickly just go to the next viral moment. So there's that audience, and I mean there are certain flashpoints for people who have then taken it to an extra step, but there's probably 100 other cases of people going the other way where they fall off the map, and that sort of thing. I think consistency will win out, and then, yeah, it's a good reminder for anyone who either has been making content or has wanted to in the future. Just be consistent, and yeah, obviously we're all on a journey if you are a content creator listening to this. But if you're just passively listening, just listening to the content and like what Aaron does, again, go and check out all of his social media. And again, thank you to everyone for subscribing and watching any of these videos that I make, the reviews, podcasts. We're over 50 episodes now, which is awesome.
Congratulations, bro.
Yeah, it's been about just over a year, and we're going to be wrapping up the year with a bunch of podcasts with a bunch of people who are, I'm going to call them experts on a certain brand. Like we're going to have a top 10 Jordans podcast, a top 10 New Balance podcast, a top 10 ASICs, and just go deep dive into those brands and kind of give an overall sense, and then probably round it off at the end of the year with an overall, which is going to prove to be very hard. I think there's going to be a lot of things going on, and I think it's going to take some time, but it's good to start thinking about it now. So I suppose thank you very much, Aaron, for coming on. Was there any kind of final notes you had about Complex? Like,
no, man, just try your best to get outside and to be in these community events, because it's when things become real, and I know it's not always possible, but when it is, sacrifice the 2-3 pairs of shoes that you were going to buy to get a plane ticket in a hotel or bunk up, and just get to experience these things, because it really is important to keep this thing going. So That's it.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. And I do appreciate everybody again for watching. And again, Aaron really appreciates, I'm sure, everyone for checking out his content. And again, all the links to all of the stuff is down in the description below. So thank you, everyone, so much for watching. We'll sign off there and we'll see you next week for another episode. Have a good day.